And now let me introduce our presenter. Jared Erni is the founder of Attract to Scale. It's a coaching and consulting company that specializes in helping local businesses double their customer base in 90 days or less without expensive ad campaigns. His work has been featured on Fox News, Digital Journal, and the Daily Herald. And he's been a featured speaker and held numerous online training sessions for businesses all over the country. Jared, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us and make a presentation tonight. At this point, the microphone and the controls are yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited and grateful to be part of this webinar tonight. I also want to commit to you to make this the most impactful marketing webinar for your business all year. And we're going to do this by covering some very important pieces that make this all work tonight. And we're going to talk about conversion. And then the next webinar that we'll be following up, we'll be talking about traffic. Most people that come to me when they want to grow their business, they come to me because they want more traffic. And what we find is that it may or may not be a traffic problem, but it's always a conversion problem first. And so that's what we're going to dive into today to show you how you can increase your conversion. And even with no new traffic, have a big increase in sell leads, high quality clients, and ultimately income. So let's dive into this today. And I want to just set the stage here too. I may stop just if I feel compelled here to allow you to ask some questions or to have some dialogue. But for the most part, so that we can respect everyone's time, I wanted to get through this presentation and hold most of those questions to the end. Can everyone see me on the camera? I'm curious if you can see me as well as the presentation. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's dive right in. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background as to why I'm doing this and what we're talking about today and why it's important. But if you've ever struggled with marketing before, it is not your fault. Marketing overwhelm is real. And you may have experienced this yourself, trying to figure out, how do I get my message out to the local audience? Now, I specialize with local business, brick and mortar or local service businesses, but these principles will work whether you're an online business or a different type of business too. So these principles are the same, but I was at this event and Tony Robbins was speaking, and one thing he said just cut me to the core. He said, no time in history has ever been easier to start a business, but it's also never been harder. The challenge today is not starting the business. The challenge today is cutting through the noise. And in a day and age when we're inundated with so much technology and information and content, that's the challenge. We're getting buried so easily. So we have to think differently in how we do that. And that is how we're going to start today with good conversion strategy. So why this is different. What most people do is they start by getting a good website. Most of your business today, if you want to get more business, you got to be online. So people are investing in websites, and there's great platforms to build your own, or you can pay someone to do it. But then when no one finds you online because there's billions of websites out there, how do you compete? Then we find ourselves investing in things like, SEO or social media strategies or paid ads, Facebook ads, AdWords, Google AdWords, endlessly posting on social media. Then we go back to the old coupon books and the community magazines and Yelp listings and networking meetings and all kinds of methods that we're just almost throwing, just against the wall to see what sticks. And if you're doing the same things everyone else is doing, you're not cutting through the noise, you're just blending in more. And that's the problem that we see so much. I love this movie, Moneyball, with Brad Pitt, where he plays Billy Beane, the managers of the Oakland A's, and he's tasked at rebuilding this baseball team with a shoestring budget. But he's competing with the big box teams like the Mets and the Yankees. And he's in this meeting with all of his managers, and they're fighting about who they're going to trade and who they're going to cut and all of these things. And he goes, guys, boom, he slams his fist on the table. He says, we cannot afford to think like the big box teams out here will never win. We have to think differently. And that's exactly how it is as a small business and a local business today. If we're going to try to copy what the big brands are doing, we're going to get drowned out. We're going to lose because we can't compete at that level. We have to think differently about how we get our message out there. And that's what this is going to show you. Now, I call this sometimes the new rules of marketing, but the truth is these aren't new rules at all. They're just new to most people when we think about it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I discovered this, and then we're going to go into the 2 secrets I want to cover today. So back in 2014, I started the largest indoor digital billboard network in Georgia. We had over 200 gyms and restaurants hosting these massive digital displays that were an alternative to outdoor billboards for the local business community. So our HVAC guy could place an ad there. Instead of doing a billboard, he could put it in 10 Johnny's Pizza locations and, reach a ton of traffic that way. It was a more affordable, more flexible, more creative and engaging alternative to the old way of doing things with billboards. But we had this challenge. We scaled the business concept so well, we scaled the locations, but we were having a hard time scaling sales with it. We tried all kinds of things. I was the best at selling it. But I could not train someone to sell it. And I don't know why to this day. I tried entry level salespeople. It didn't work. I tried seasoned salespeople. It didn't work. I even hired a consulting company, paid them $25,000 to fix our problem, and that didn't work. And so I was really lost at how do I fix this problem? And I dug deep and I did my research. And I found, let me back up the slide a little bit. That's a little ahead. I figured out some really interesting things. Number one was we were getting traffic to our website, but it wasn't converting. Number two, most websites don't convert well at all. In fact, an average e-commerce website only converts 1 to 2.8% of traffic into sales. And that sounds horrible. That means for every 100 people that comes to your website, only 1 to maybe 3 people are buying. And that's average right now. But an informational website doesn't even port or job. And that's when I realized, my gosh, there's got to be a way to fix it. And I discovered a few secrets that actually changed the game. When I have implemented these secrets into my business, in 3 days, I had over 15 leads come through that were basically people telling me they were interested in what we had to offer. And surprisingly, I'm sitting there on day 3. I knew one thing. I knew I could train salespeople to call leads that said they were interested. Not cold calling was our challenge, right? But I knew that I had something more scalable. And then on the 3rd day, a transaction hit our account for $544 recurring. And I hit my email and I go, did that actually come from our site? And I went over to our site and realized that was the first time that we closed a deal on our network without me having to pick up the phone call for 2 weeks trying to close the deal. And it changed everything. And from that time on, we were able to scale our business from my garage startup to over a $2 million company. But we started applying this with the companies that were our clients. And the first was Ledley. He was in boat sales, but opened up a boat rental division. And the funny thing is our network worked really well for his boat sales business, but not for the rental side. And so I started applying these secrets to his boat rental business. In 2 weeks, we filled his calendar, and that summer was his best summer ever. In 12 months, he tripled his business with absolutely no paid ads. This is Bill, who was in excavations and demolitions for residential properties. And when he came to me, he said, man, if I don't fix this, I'm probably going to have to go out of business because I'm just not getting enough traffic in. And so we worked with him on fixing this strategy. He went from a single owner operator in 8 months to having enough business to hire 2 crews and then land a $3.6 million project. And this was with no paid ads. This is Susan, who ran a wellness center. And she came to me because she was frustrated with all these agencies she had hired in the past that overpromised and underdelivered. And she couldn't figure out how to do marketing because she was a nurse practitioner by trade and was really good at that. But she was not a marketer or techie type of person. Working with her, we were able to fix this problem, and it just propelled her business. Now, the pandemic forced her to have to shut her doors for a while. It scared her. What does this look like when we reopen, if we can reopen? She held on. When she was able to reopen, her business doubled in 4 weeks. And later, she got multiple offers to buy her business out. She sold her business and now travels full time. This is another wellness center. They specialize in IV therapy. She came to us. She was paying marketers monthly retainers, and it wasn't driving the needle for her business. In 4 months, we applied these frameworks to her business. She went from $28,000 a month to over $60,000 a month with no paid ads in just 4 months. These frameworks are so powerful that we're going to be diving into, and I want to teach you this. That's what we have so much to cover. It's going to take 2 nights to do it. So tonight, I'm going to dive into 2 specific secrets that will set the foundation for you to be able to have this type of growth. And it's focused around conversion. And then the next webinar on Thursday will focus on how we amplify things with traffic. So this is what we call attraction stacking. Now, like I said, most people come to me because they want more traffic, but we found this is not a traffic problem most of the time, but it's usually always a conversion problem. So we don't even touch traffic here. We start with offer strategy. And so I'm going to dive into what offer strategy looks like here, and then we'll go into what a sales funnel does to help you automate this. So the first secret I want to talk to you about or teach you here is how to instantly outposition your competition, charge what you're worth, and never compete on price again. So let me tell you a story. When I was looking for a new phone, I wanted to buy a Google Pixel phone. And when I was looking for the prices, I found it in a lot of different areas for around $700. The problem is it was the same thing anywhere, but because of that, this was being shopped or viewed as a commodity. A commodity is a similar service or product for a similar price. And so the only way you win when you're viewed as a commodity is to be the person who charges the least. And that's what we were looking for, right? $699, $696, $696. Well, where should I buy this from? But then I got served an ad from Google that said, hey, when you buy the Google Pixel from our Play Store or from our phone store, whatever, online, not only are you going to get the Pixel and the charger, but we're also going to give you some other things. We're going to give you 3 months of Google One. We're going to give you Stadia Pro. We're going to give you Google Play Pass and YouTube Premium. And I went, whoa, that's kind of cool. So for basically the same price I'm buying it from anywhere else, I'm getting the phone charger and all of this other stuff. That's what created a much higher perceived value, and now separated me in viewing it from a commodity to viewing it as its own offer. When you create an offer, you pull yourself out of competing by price, and instead you compete by value. And that's how you can actually begin to charge the most in your market, because what people care more about than price is getting the most value for their dollar. But what we often think is that in order to get more customers, I have to charge less. And that's exactly the wrong way to grow your business. So your offer is the foundation of conversion. It's the one thing that if you can get really good at crafting an offer with high perceived value, this will do more for your business than anything else you can do. Let me tell you another story about Skylar. This is a great example. He ran a cryotherapy business in California. And while all of his competition were charging $19, $14, or $25 on these Groupon deals to try cryotherapy once and try to get them into their stores, Skylar created an offer for $65, which was 3 to 4 times what his competition was charging. But rather than just try cryotherapy, he had a lot of other modalities too. And he said, well, not only are you going to get a cryotherapy session, but we're also going to let you have a compression session, an LED light session, an electric stim session, and a cellulofacial, all for $65. And what happened was people were much more willing to spend $65 for all of this other stuff because they saw way more value in it than just paying $19 for one cryotherapy session. And not only did he accelerate his business by creating a better offer and charging the most in his market. But his offer generated over $314,000 with zero paid advertising at all. And it attracted a much better client. In fact, he increased his conversion rate from a first-time buyer to a member from 25% to over 95%. This made Skylar become kind of dubbed the membership king in his industry. He was featured on Shark Tank. He's actually the only person I know who's been featured on Shark Tank twice. And he's done a phenomenal job at creating high perceived value and moving people into memberships, which really strengthens the value of your business. And he did that with good offer strategy. So I'm going to dive into how you create a really good offer. Now, this is a formula and it's very simple, but I'm going to teach you a framework that I use here in a second. But if you take your core offer, your intro offer, now I have to explain it. An introductory offer is kind of, you want to think of this as the first step in doing business with you. So we want to create an offer around that. If you're in home service space, usually that's a free estimate, right? If you're a roofer, you want to create an offer out of not just the roofing, but you want to create an offer out of getting the estimate itself. Most people, most other roofers, they all say the same exact thing. Contact us for an estimate or call us for an estimate. Everyone's doing that, but that's not an offer. That's a call to action. Now, you can really shake things up if you can create a real offer out of getting that estimate and creating high perceived value. But you take your introductory offer, you add high perceived value to it, and this creates a real offer stack. This is what you can really compete with. So this is my 3-point offer framework. There's 2 steps. One is you have to creatively articulate your introductory offer by giving it a cool name. So if you're doing a free estimate, don't call it a free estimate. You can explain that that's part of what it is, but give it a really cool name that instantly increases its perceived value. It shows it's different than what everyone else is doing. So you have to do that, and you have to identify the first step of doing business with you to create an offer around that. The second step is what I call offer splintering. This is when you're going to break out some bullet points to it that actually articulate the value of this thing that you're offering. So the first bullet point is always a feature to benefit. This is where you explain what this offer really is and what it is for. The second is an emotional benefit, because here's where most businesses don't even go. People need to be connected to their emotion. People are emotional buyers. 75% of your buying decision is attached to emotion, and you need to appeal to a person's emotions. If you think listing a whole bunch of features about what you offer is going to make someone go, oh yeah, this is what it means to me, you're wrong. You actually have to tell them what that means to them. And that's what we're doing by appealing to an emotional benefit. And then the third is a value add-on. What else can you easily add that will increase the value or enhance the experience of this introductory offer that doesn't cost you a lot, but greatly enhances the value? And that's the 3 bullet points of offer splintering. So we're going to break this down. This is how you can see this in a few different examples. Number 1, let's do a promotional type of offer. So if we had a health and wellness spa and they're doing a red light sauna special, don't call it our red light sauna special. Get creative. Call it our triple threat red light bundle. And here's what it is. The feature to benefit, it's a 20-minute red light sauna for pain relief. Emotional benefit. Experience the joy of being pain-free again. Add-on. Plus, get a free mini targeted cryo session to enhance your results. Now, can you see the difference? Get our red light sauna special for $89 or try our triple threat red light bundle for $150. You can charge the most in your market and for your category when you do this well, because there's so much more perceived value. Let's try it with a free estimate because I love working with home service companies, and I absolutely love taking that free estimate and turning it into a real offer here. So instead of saying a free roof inspection and estimate, let's change this to the Broward homeowners roof wellness check. You're going to get a free roof inspection by certified professionals. This is our emotional benefit. Have the peace of mind your biggest investment is protected. Plus, get $500 in roofing upgrades when you replace your roof with us. You can see there's so much more perceived value here that's going to move people forward. Let's try another one. This is for those realtors or consultants or mortgage brokers out there, right? Where your first, maybe the more sophisticated type of sell begins with a consultation. So instead of calling this your home selling consultation or get a free consultation, let's get creative and think of a cool name for it and call it our Downey Home Sellers Strategy Call. Now, what we're doing too, and if you've noticed this, is that I'm actually calling out who this is for in that name, right? The Downey Home Sellers or the Broward Home Owners. Right? You don't always have to do that, but that's one way to help enhance the value and see who it is for almost instantly. Now, it's the feature to benefit. It's a free home selling strategy for your specific situation. The value, the emotion, sorry, I said the value, the emotional benefit, get the most money possible for your home and the value add-on. Plus, get a free home staging guide to sell your home in record time. Now, if you take this framework and apply it to your offer, this is going to allow you to take almost anything you offer and instantly increase its perceived value. Because again, what people care about more than price is getting the most value for their dollar. This will allow you to actually charge more, get higher quality clients, get people who are interested in paying more for better value than trying to find the cheapest price, and you can grow your business stronger, right? Your margins are healthier. This allows you to reinvest in the experience your clients are having and really create the best service or best product you can. So I want to offer you a free worksheet that's going to walk you through the steps that you can take and actually implement this into your business and what you're offering. So go ahead and snap the link off of your phone. This will take you straight to a Google Doc that I created today just for you and walk you through the process of creating a real offer strategy out of what you are offering. Any questions? I'll open this up right now for any questions on offer because we're going to move on to something different here in just a moment. So we'll take a minute and just address any questions on offers that people might have at this point. So if you have a question, nothing, keep going, Jared. All right, thanks, Brandon. Well, in case someone else does, we'll take just a second. Okay, can you send the free worksheet as an attachment? Unable to use? Yeah, I can do that. After the webinar, Ted will remind me to send the link over to him so he can actually resend this out to everyone else on the follow-up. Could you try a fashion item instead of a service? Yeah, so you could actually do this with any product as well. And it's very simple. So one of the things that you'll want to think about, whatever that fashion item might be, is what else can you actually add to it or give with it that will increase or enhance the experience with it or increase the value. And this also falls in line with a little bit of reciprocity, which is basically when you over deliver or when you offer or give more than what someone expected, they tend to want to give back to you. There was a study that on waiters, and they showed that if you were in, rather than taking that bowl of mints in a restaurant, right? Instead, you deliver those mints with the check. They found that if you delivered 2 mints with that check, you could increase your tips 4%. Now, if you brought, 1 mint increased tips 4%. If the waiter brought 2 mints per person, they'd increase the tips as much as 14%. However, if the waiter brought 2 mints per person with that check, walked away from the table, and before they left, came back and gave another mint to each person in case they wanted one again, that increased the tips 21%. And it's the simple fact of being able to be genuine and giving more or over delivering that increase the tips coming back. So find ways to do that. You can do that with physical products. Oh, by the way, if you have a physical product, a really great complement to it is a digital product. So if, let's just say you have a scarf, well, when you buy our scarf, not only are you going to get the scarf, but we're also going to give you a PDF that shows you all the different ways you can use the scarf, or all the different ways you can wear this scarf for fashion, right? Just a quick idea. But think about that. Like, you don't think about a digital product that comes with a physical product, but that is a great way to create more perceived value. All right, let's see. Best way to drive business for custom embroidery business. Well, when you say drive business, there's a lot of different levers you can pull. The lever we're talking about today is creating a great offer around it. And what I would do is get this worksheet and find a way to take what you have to offer and create an irresistible offer around each service you provide. How do you know what your audience will consider a valuable offer? Well, the best way is to test it. I will say one thing that most people overlook is if you have an audience or you have clients, just ask them. Everything you do should be asked, like, let your clients vote on that in some ways, right? But if you ask them, it eliminates a lot of the risk of you trying to think about it yourself. Ask them what color they desire most. Ask them, which flavor they want more of. I would ask them, but secondly, you got to test it. If you have an offer out there and it's not working, re-angle the offer and test a different one. What are the pros and cons of using your name in the title of the offer? Try our triple threat versus Downey Home Sellers. So name, Downey Home Sellers, Downey's like a city name. So that wasn't like a personal name. So I'm not sure if that's kind of where you were thinking there. But honestly, I wouldn't put too much weight on it. I would just create some creative names and pick your favorite, because no matter what, if it's different than what everyone else is saying, if you're saying, if it's different than free estimate, for example, then it's going to instantly have a different level of perceived value. Could this framework be applied to RFPs? I'm not sure. What are RFPs? Need to know what that means. I'm a pedicurist. Some people still want paper price lists. Sorry, the chat keeps jumping around. Should this strategy to the price list or a story about what you offer? Pedicurist. I'm trying to understand here. Some people still want paper price lists. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the exact scenario there. How to market my local job listing website to employers, how to reach employers. Well, reach is something different, right? We're working on strategy for conversion at the moment. Reach is going to happen on Thursday, right? Bringing traffic to the offer. But what you still want to do is create a great offer. What can you do that creates high perceived value for them and convert them when they come there? We'll talk about reach on Thursday. Could this be applied to request for proposal? Oh, I'm sure you can, right? So it's just follow this framework. One, it's a feature to benefit to explain, right? Well, first of all, step one is create a great, compelling name for it. And sometimes I will say, you don't have to overthink this. You don't have to be super creative. Sometimes it's just calling it out of like, try, right? I'm trying to think of an example that I had in my mind, but it slipped and I can't think of a good example on that now. But you can just say what it is you're offering, but offer the 3 bullet points below it too. so that you're able to articulate the value. What most people do is they think that we understand what we're going to get with this proposal, this request for proposal. Why don't you just take a minute to articulate the value of getting that proposal from you and use those 3 bullet points to do it? First, a feature to benefit. Second, an emotional benefit. And third, what else are you bringing to the table that no one else can that makes you more valuable? Okay. So cool. Let's move on, because the next thing we want to do is now automate our ability to fulfill this offer. And there's actually a few little points here on the offer thing that I want to also touch on. Number one, you're not selling a service or a product. You can say you're not selling a product. What you're doing is you're selling the transformation that service or product creates. And if you can speak to that, then you can really connect to your buyer. It's the transformation that they're really investing in. Your service or product is just almost irrelevant. And let me give you an example of why I say that. I was in this meeting once, and we had a gentleman who literally said, your product or service is irrelevant, and I'm going to show you why. And there was an audience of like 5,000 people. And he said, how many people are into sports? And he had a bunch of hands raised. How many people are into, this other thing? Hands raised. He goes, okay, sports. How many people? And basically he's asking the audience here all of these questions. How many people are into golf? How many people are into football? How many people are into soccer? Okay. And golf was by far the biggest part of the crowd. Okay. So he says, okay, golf. We're going to focus on golf. How many people here would like to increase your drive? Raise your hand. How many people would like to increase your putting game? Raise your hand. Right. So the increasing your drive was by far the majority. So now what he's done is he's been actually researching our audience to find out a niche for a particular product, but we still haven't figured out that product yet. So, all right. So how many of you will want to increase your drive 10 yards? How many of you would want to increase it, 20 yards or 30 yards? Right. And so we got kind of a consensus on what that real range was. How many of you would be willing to pay $100 to increase your drive 30 yards? How many would pay 200? How many pay 300? And prices, right? Hands went down. And so he goes, okay, how many would pay 250? How many pay 2? So we got like 200 was the consensus. Okay. All right. So now he knows what sport to build a product or service around, what it should do for them, and what price point he should charge for it. Without having a product or service there, he knew who his ideal client was and what they're willing to pay for and what for specifically. Now he said, it really doesn't matter what I sell them as long as it delivers the transformation. It can be a product, it can be a service, it could be a lessons, it could be a contraption. It doesn't matter. And this gentleman has done millions and millions and millions of dollars in sales because this is how he approaches businesses. He actually researches that way. It's reverse what most people think. Most people want to create a product or service and then try to find people to buy it. Instead, what he did was he found people who want to buy something, and he created that thing. So sell the transformation, not the product or service. And you can literally do this with every single service or product you offer. Create an irresistible offer around it. So there's Bill. I told you the story of Bill. We'll not dive into it. I want to actually get into some other things as well too. But at the end of the day, Bill was able to accelerate his business to a level where he actually started another company too. And what Bill told me, by the way, was that he lived in a place where it snowed a lot up north. And he said he always had to stay during the winter to push snow with his tractors. But he always wanted to escape the winters to Arizona. He just couldn't afford to because he never made enough money during the summer months. Well, now he does. And it all stemmed from being able to create a good offer and what I'm going to show you next. The single most important thing you can do is create a great what we call an irresistible offer by creating high perceived value. An irresistible offer is going to allow you to instantly stand out from your competition, attract better clients because it's value-based, not price-based, It's going to allow you to charge what you're worth and never have to compete on price again. So this is actually Rock. They launched their business in the midst of COVID. And during that time, you can understand that is probably a pretty difficult time to grow your business. But by doing these strategies, they generated 63 leads in their very first month with absolutely no advertising cost. Now they run an organic and paid campaigns with great conversions, but they were able to keep their doors open when many had to close. Gail went from getting zero leads on her website to generating more than leads and sales in 1 week than she had seen in 6 months. And this was with no new traffic. She already was getting traffic. This was just by creating a good offer strategy and then positioning it properly online. This is Jerome Lopez, who went from 0 leads from his website to averaging 65 leads every single month with no new traffic. And using these strategies, we leveraged his email list to generate over $10,000 in just 72 hours using these strategies and good offer and funnel strategies, which I'm going to go into next. If any of you know who Dan Kennedy is, he's known as the father of attraction marketing, but he says this: you could very well starve until you have an affordable, efficient, dependable means of attracting a sufficient flow of qualified leads and buyers. Most business owners sort of know this, but they still focus on everything but the one thing that makes all the difference in the world to their success: marketing. So with that, what we're going to talk about next is how you create an efficient engine, like Dan Kennedy says, online. And this is how we position good offer strategy. So if you nail your offer and you have that really fine-tuned, now how do you automate that offer so it's attracting the right people, it's generating the leads and generating the sales for you online? That's where we come into this part here, sales funnel. So let's dive into the simple shift in what you do to your website that actually turns on a faucet of new leads and sales. I told you a little bit earlier that the average e-commerce website only generates 1 to 2.8% of traffic into sales. And that's average. Terrible statistic here, right? So who wants a better website for your business? Informational websites do an even poorer job. And that's because we tend to think about them in an old way. So this is an example of a website that is designed the way most people would design a website. You've got a logo on the top, you've got a menu with a bunch of pages and links containing a lot of information, which is great. Like, right, we put a lot of information for 2 reasons. One, because we think it's going to help move people or persuade people to buy from us. And 2, because of good SEO. And if you don't know what SEO is, it stands for search engine optimization. And it's the idea of all of this content is going to help Google pull you more on top. Here's the problem today is that all of those pages and clickable links, before I even scroll down, I have over 20 links and clickable links that are taking me way down rabbit holes of information that never really get me to do the one thing that you really want this website to do, which is to generate a lead, book an appointment, book a sale. And so we're actually hurting ourselves today because we're allowing our sites to be designed like this. And this is the problem. There's information overload. You can't control the click because we're sending them all over the place, or even off of our website many times to our social media accounts and things like that. And there's no real clear, strong call to action, or should I say offer here available. Here's an alternative, and this is a website. A sales funnel is a website. It's just a website designed with better marketing strategy and psychology. And rather than being built with a whole bunch of pages, it's built in steps. The only way to get to the next step is to do the thing we want you to do, which is move forward, right? Opt in, buy a thing, whatever. So if you have a good sales funnel and you lead with a really great offer, people are going to be compelled to move forward. They're going to be compelled to take that next step. And you're going to be directing them to that path you need them to go to become a client. If they're not interested, well, you don't want to worry about them anyway or waste your time with them. So it's going to do a good job of filtering the wrong people away from your site and moving the right people through it. And that is the power of a sales funnel. Now, there's really some components here that are powerful on the front end, but also on the back end. Because when you have someone opt in with their name, email, and phone number on the front end, you generate a lead. And if you're paying for any of your traffic, or right, you can actually do traffic two ways. One, it's to cost time, or two, it costs money. But if you're using time or money to drive traffic to your business, this is usually traffic you don't own, and you continually have to reinvest time and money to drive more of it. But when you generate a lead, that becomes someone who's on your email list or texting list, and now that's traffic you own. And if they say yes to one small thing, they're 6 times more likely to say yes to the next thing. If they don't buy from you now, if you know what to do, you can now build a list that you can then always remarket to again and again. It doesn't cost you anything to do going forward. Now, a certain percentage of people are going to move forward and opt in. They're going to book the appointment and generate a sale. Another percentage of people are going to opt in and not book right away. And because of that, if you know how to leverage the back end of a sales funnel by having what we call a nurturing sequence, being able to automate communications to that person, be it texting or emailing. And I actually really love texting today for that reason. You can automate a lot of this. So it works seamlessly behind the scenes, but there's a 96% open rate within the first 5 minutes of receiving a text message. If you compare that to email or even just trying to call a lead, you're lucky to get a 25, 30% open rate or answer rate. So texting is so powerful today. And if you just have a great way of texting reminders to this person who opted in, you can actually increase your sales as much as 540% by having a proper sales funnel with a good nurturing backend. Now compare that to the traditional website that's doing 1 to 2.8% of sales. That's powerful. A sales funnel is more efficient for generating leads. In fact, the sole purpose of a sales funnel is to generate a lead or generate a sale. It filters traffic, so you're focusing on spending your energy towards those people who are a higher quality lead. And it gives the clear next steps with a compelling offer that moves people forward. And like I said, a proper sales funnel will generate up to 540% more revenue than a traditional website. This is how Susan was able to double her business in 4 weeks when she reopened her doors after the pandemic shutdown. And you can tell, like, from her messages to me how excited she was that we've had a ton of leads come through today. Even today, I'm excited I was able to do an ad that reached people. I was always scared to do it myself. Most business owners feel like they have to delegate their marketing to other people who know better because they're not experts at it. And the truth is, if you have these frameworks in place, they're simpler than most people think, and you probably market your business a lot better than any agency or freelancer out there would. So you can see some of her things there. Here's a common misconception. A website and a sales funnel are two different things. Well, a website and a sales funnel, they're both websites. The difference is a website, or a traditional website, right, is built in pages, right, contains lots of information, just does a poor job of converting. A sales funnel is a website designed with specific marketing strategy to move people forward. The truth is that sales funnels are websites. They're just designed to be much more efficient. They're like websites on steroids for your business. Another common misconception is that I have to replace my whole website. No, that's not the case. You can actually, with a few shifts to your website, you can turn it into a sales funnel, or you can replace your website. And what we call is a homepage funnel is a new idea of how you can create a homepage experience that looks and feels like a customer would expect a homepage to feel, but functions as a sales funnel for your business. So it just takes a few shifts to being able to do what the real purpose of a sales funnel is. Here's how Tammy Brasher, since launching, they close 80% of their leads into paying customers and average 60 leads per month completely organically by doing nothing more than transitioning from a traditional website to having a offer strategy and a sales funnel in place. Sherry Jackson did over $15,000 of sales in her very first month with no previous marketing experience at all by leveraging the power of sales funnels. And this was a product, not a service. But she said, well, yeah, it was kind of both. She did a fitness training boot camp course and product sales behind that. And so she did 50, and then she had several weeks where she did over 20 and 25,000 on product sales behind that to all of her clients. This is Evelyn, who actually came to me and said, I'm either going to sell or shut down because I've been doing this for over a year and I just can't figure out how to grow to where I need it to be to make this make sense. And I said, well, hang in there. And in the first 30 days working with this strategy, she said she had her best month of business since opening her spot over a year ago and continues to thrive. I remember just talking to her and she had over 100 leads in just less than 60 days just by making this shift. That's the power of attraction stacking. Now, these are just the two conversion frameworks here. Good offer strategy combined with a good sales funnel will create an increase in leads by pulling that conversion lever. And if you have no new traffic at all, but you have some sort of traffic coming to your website, this will increase your business dramatically just from the traffic level that you currently have. However, let's see. Like I said, most people think they have a traffic problem when the reality is it starts as a conversion problem. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. So the principles of a sales funnel is you must have a good offer for this to work. A sales funnel does not work without having a good offer strategy or a good offer to facilitate. It allows you to collect prospects' information, which becomes a lead that you can then nurture and remarket to later. And by the way, if you've had clients buy from you in the past and you have an email list, this is your biggest asset. Most business owners are not leveraging because they are 6 times more likely to buy from you again. Most people don't buy from us again because we don't give them more offers. So we need to find better ways of leveraging that list. But you have the power of growing that list exponentially when you have a sales funnel that does it. The sales funnel guides people to the next step and allows you to have that following up with text and email nurturing to convert more sales. So a sales funnel is the most efficient way to automate your leads and sales 24/7 for your local business that way. And this is the foundation of attraction stacking. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to go into what I call smart traffic, right? This is how we actually bring people into our sales funnel and to our offer, with good traffic strategies. Most people are competing in very saturated spaces when it comes to traffic, and they're having a very difficult time cutting through the noise. I'm going to teach you smart traffic strategies next on Thursday that will dive into number 1, traffic sources with the highest buying intent. And number 2, this is the other qualifier for smart traffic, is it's a source of traffic where you can compete and win as a local business. So let's take a minute to turn this over to some question answers that we can dive in and touch on any questions you had. It doesn't matter about offer, strategy, or sales funnels that we can dive in today. And we can also unmute anyone who, if you want to click on raise your hand, we can have you ask that question and we can dialogue on that too. Okay, cool. I don't know if Ted, if you want to do this or if you would like me to do it. I can definitely unmute here. So let's start with, I'll just send an allow to talk request to, is it Dacia?
Dacia.
Dacia, I'm sorry. Dacia,
No.
great to have you on. What's your question?
Sorry, my original question was confusing. I provide a service. I am a pedicurist. I specialize in pedicures.
Okay.
So my question at the time was, I just started adding myself to Google, but I still get foot traffic inside the salon as well because I'm attached to a hair salon. Okay. So when you mentioned earlier in the slides about what you're offering to basically entice someone or, attract someone more, should I still have paper price lists
Okay.
with my prices and my contact information? Should I add something in addition to just that brief information? Because it basically doesn't tell who I am and, like a story or something brief.
Sure. Well, I think when someone comes into your store, you have the ability to connect with them in person and really instantly build trust and rapport with them. So I don't know if it's so necessary that they have to like read a lot about like your story or anything, but the way that I would do this is we often want to put a menu of a whole bunch of services in front of someone. And the more options, psychologically, the more options you give someone, the less likely they are to choose one and the less satisfied they are with the one they chose. So not to say like in your situation that you shouldn't give them a whole list of those options, but what I might say is like you could give them, you could direct them like, hey, what are you looking for today? Okay, well, here's a special offer we have. And then you could have something that provides a special offer that not only is, most people are going to choose the path of least resistance or the path of least barrier to entry. So if you give them all these options, they're usually going to pick the one that's the cheapest. Why not offer your best, most expensive option first, but create a real offer out of it that has higher perceived value and lead with that? And if that's not what they are interested in, then you can give them the price list of all the other options too. So you're almost essentially helping them guide to the thing that's going to create the most transformation for them first. And obviously that's not just good for your business, it's also good for them because it's what they want, like it's the transformation that they seek. But if that's, not what they're after, then you can give them the price list with the other options. Does it make sense? Hope that helps. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Susan, I just sent you an unmute request.
All right, I unmuted. Real quick, I own a commercial horse boarding stable. I have a very small audience. And I have an MBA, by the way, one of a few horse boarding situations with an owner with an MBA. So I'm considering, and I have a website and such. So I guess my understanding of this is my value offer is the care I give the horses. Okay. And the facility I have to offer. So I wanted to check is, that value offer enough to say your horse will get unparalleled care. It'll get, I would care for the horse the way you would care for a horse. One of my boarders said, I treat my horses like royalty. Mm-hmm. And is that enough?
So I wonder how much that appeals to the emotional benefit of your client. And it might be good to think about what the emotional benefits are or the emotions they feel when they know their horse is being cared for, right? Rest easy knowing your horse is in the most loving hands in the market.
So name it.
What's that?
Essentially, tell the customer this is how you will feel.
Yes. It sounds silly, but we actually have to tell them how they will feel. And when you do, though, it instantly connects to that real emotional benefit that they seek. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And here's actually another really good framework that you can use if you're going to share this on the website, because I think yours is maybe a bit more sophisticated, that you have to be able to articulate the value a little. It may take a little more to articulate that value that someone's, and one way to do that, and I like what Dacia said earlier, is through a story, but there's a framework called hook, story, offer. If your offer requires a little more buildup to really get into the value that you have, let me see if I can actually pull up an example here for you guys to see, because this is a good way to frame it.
So it reminds you that, what you learn in marketing 101, selling encyclopedias. Well, you have a child, you want your child to be smart and educated and get a good job. And here's the tool that will help you do it.
Yeah. So here is an example of how we were able to help one of our clients. She has an offer here, but it was really important for us to make sure she was on camera explaining deeper what this means for that client. And so she got on and we actually created this story, she created the story. She got on camera, she did it, but video is a very powerful way to do it. So I was going to show you an example of like a hook. I don't actually have the hook here, but you can look at, crowd body sculpting, too hot to handle body bundle. That's the name of her offer. And here's how she framed it with the value, the feature to benefit, the emotional benefit. And actually, we actually did this one a little interesting. We have a second emotional benefit here instead of a value add-on, because once they secure their voucher on the next page, that's where the value add-on happens. It says, if you book your appointment in the next 10 minutes, we're also going to give you a red light session. So just another way to break it out. You're almost taking your offer and breaking it into two elements that way. But that's one way to do it too. But I think it would be really great for you on your website to actually share a video telling your story, why you do what you do, why it's important for you to care for the horses like this, and what that means to them.
Right. And my horse is here as well. So all the horses
Yeah.
get the same treatment. And I've got long-term staff. And so I created this, I bought this a couple of years ago, and I want to make this the place that I would want to go to if I had the choice. And of course I bought it and making it what I want it to be.
Yeah, got it. I apologize. I just saw a note that people couldn't see my example. Let me pull that up again. Sorry, guys. Let me make sure my screen is sharing properly now. Okay.
There you
How's
go.
that?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so let me just go over this again real quick. On this website, we really wanted to make sure that she was able to share her story, which really articulated that value of this offer, because it's a little deeper, or there's so much more value than you can explain in a few sentences. And so we had her come on camera to actually share that story. So if you really want to appeal to the emotions of your clients, get a hook, create that offer, and share that story. So I would say hook, story, offer is that framework that you want to do. And you can do that in any header of any website. And what I was explaining earlier about the points here, if you go, right, this is your feature to benefit, a 30-minute crowd sculpting session to target fat loss, say goodbye to stubborn fat for good. That's the emotional benefit, and look good, look and feel better without pain or hassle. This was the second emotional benefit we put in there, because once you click schedule that voucher, you have to enter your name, email, phone number to get to the next step. But then on that next step is the value add-on that we put in there, which is get a red light session for free when you schedule your appointment in the next 10 minutes. So that's just another creative way of actually breaking that offer up a little bit to incentivize the bookings on that. All right.
That'll work. I don't think prices has any, or what you get, it has a tangible value.
Yeah.
For what I offer. So I don't know if I'd go put dollar values in, but the rest of it I think will work great.
Yes, no, and you're absolutely right, because what you want to do is compete with value. It's the value that you want to compete with, and the value that you bring to the table that you want to articulate well. So good luck with that. All right. Any other, I see a lot of questions here. Anyone else want to talk through some questions first, or should I just kind of try to address the chat questions here? Let's see. Susan.
Yeah, there are a couple of questions, Jared, about I wouldn't have thought that automated texts were a free form of advertising. And there was another one in here too.
Okay, let me, okay, automated text. So if this is how we set this up. When I say a free form of advertising, no, there's usually a charge to having that, but it's extremely minimal. You have to invest in having the right platforms for you to be able to market to your list. But when I said free, what I meant was you can pay for ads or you can market to your list for free. You still have to have the technology that allows you to do it, but you don't have to pay another platform to market to your list, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes more sense. I think that's what, maybe that was kind of the direction of that question.
And there was another one there about, do you have a sweet spot for text email frequency?
Oh yeah. So I don't like to go crazy on the text messages because obviously we don't want to annoy someone to the point where they don't want to be on our list. But I found that there's just depending on what you do, I have a 4-day texting sequence that I use with my business. And actually, I want to say it's about probably actually 5 days, but then I have an 11-day sequence that follows that. So when someone comes into my business, they're going to get a text the same day they become a lead that says, hey, Jared, saw you were interested in my training. Did you have a chance to watch it yet? And I want to always do a text message that creates an open loop for a two-way communication, not a blast, not a massive blast that feels automated, but something that feels real and human. And I'm going to use merge tags. This is a little techie, but I'm going to use a merge tag feature that allows me to actually put their name in it. So it's customized to them. Then the next day, they're going to get a text that says, hey, just wanted to check in on the training. Do you have any questions I can help with? Then I do a 3rd day, a 4th day, and then the 5th day, I just do a last kind of reminder, hate to bother you, but if, hate to be a pest, but if you're still interested in, the offer that we have, I'm here to help, just let me know, kind of thing. And that's kind of where I leave it. Now, what I'll do after that is every single week I'm sending something of value, and I don't text them after that, but they have my number that they can text back. And then every week after that, I'm always sending something of value every single week to my email list. So that's kind of how I do it. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it for your business. Some businesses, like one of our clients is in auto glass replacement. And that's kind of like if you don't get that client now, they're going to get someone else, and the business is done, like gone at that point. So for him, we just do a one text message. Once they opt in, he says, hey, Jared, I saw that you were interested in getting your auto glass replaced. Do you have comprehensive insurance? And they respond yes. And when that response comes back, he calls them and books them. So, and it's automated. So he actually doesn't have to do that initial text message. It's just automated there. It's pretty cool.
Say, Jared, Jessica has her hand up.
Oh, thank you. Jessica, I'm allowing you to unmute.
Okay, perfect. Good evening.
Hi.
Okay, great. Hi, Jared. So I had a question. I specialize in custom embroidered apparel and accessories. And I kind of wanted to know what would be like the best way to do kind of like that hook, the story, and then the value for that brand or that industry.
You have a lot of different products that you can offer. So yours might want to be a little more generic, but you can be very specific. Do you have a specific type of client that you like to work with most?
Not necessarily. Like, I think right now with me, especially being kind of a newer business, I'm trying to target like some of the small businesses in the area, like your coffee shops or insurance companies, kind of like some of the smaller businesses. But I do get people from everywhere. It could be nurses that may want their lab coats embroidered random people that may just want something on a shirt, teens,
Mhm.
women, it varies.
Sure. And is there a particular type of service you like to do more of or want more of?
Um, More so, I'll definitely want to kind of focus on the businesses, so I can kind
Okay,
of pick up with the sales a little bit more.
sure. So what I would do here is it seems like probably, and I'm just going to kind of spitfire back and forth. If
Okay.
I were a business looking for some shirts that we wanted to
Mhm.
get embroidered, the first thing I'd probably want is a quote. And
Gotcha.
is that kind of what you tend to see? Like most people reach out and go, well, do you have some options? What kind of quote could you give me? Is that kind of how you
Um,
start?
yeah, most people, because I do have a web page, so they're able to go
Yeah.
on there and plug in their information. You know,
Okay.
what item do you want embroidered? What
Uh-huh.
location do you want embroidered? Size, colors, and sending the image. And a lot of
Okay.
it is logos.
Yeah. Sure. So that's cool to know too. You could actually create an kind of a more defined offer around logo products, but I would think there's two ways to go about this. You can actually you can create an offer around getting the quote and what that
Okay.
means. And how do you deliver the quote to people today? Is it you email them a PDF that you put together, or do you talk to them through it?
Most of it is communication via email, or if we need to kind of clarify, because sometimes with messaging back and forth, it can get a little dicey. But for the
Sure.
most part, it is via email.
Okay. And I don't know what their expectations are typically, but one way you could change it up is like that's probably the experience that most people get. Maybe you could actually have like a 10-minute discovery session with
Oh,
them and
okay.
create an offer around that where you can actually dive into what their specific needs are and give them real guidance rather than asking, well, what do you want? When most of the time they have no idea what the options really are.
Gotcha.
And so you could actually change it up by creating a discovery session. I don't know what you want to call it, a discovery call.
Right.
Um, that then you can actually go, okay, well, what is your budget? What are
Okay.
you really wanting to achieve out of this? And then you can deliver a proposal back to them that gives them some options that they can choose, but no, like you can customize this to what their real needs are in their budget.
Awesome. Okay. I
Oh,
like that.
just an idea there. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Perfect. Anyone else? Al Marie, your hand's up. How are you doing?
There we go.
Hi, Al Marie. It's good
There
to
we
hear
go.
you.
We did it. Hi. I always have to say hello because you know I'm your biggest fan. And
Oh,
I look
thank
forward
you.
also. I have a couple of items I know that you'll cover on Thursday. But
Mhm.
tonight, you were talking about the keeping in touch through emails or text
Uh-huh.
messages. And
Yeah.
I would like you to just comment on, not only can you keep in touch with offers, but can you keep in touch by just sharing information? Like
Yeah.
today's current trend is, or did you know this? Can you engage and keep your email list going, keep your clients engaged that way too? Would you talk a little bit about that? Also,
Yeah.
some engaged.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. Yes. And I'm not perfect at this myself, but it's something that I've tried to is an area that I knew I could get better at too. And so what I have done is here's two things that I see a lot that are problematic with nurturing your email list or your client list via email, if you will. One is we don't do it because we don't want to come across salesy, but then when we do it, it's usually to sell something. Or two, we do the outdated newsletter that no one really wants to read.
Yes.
And those are the two problems that I typically see. And what I would say that becomes a much stronger way to nurture them is to write, number one, your emails don't have a real agenda, but this is actually a really good framework. It's called jab, 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 hook. And it's Gary Vaynerchuk's method. He wrote a book about this, about how you can email your list in a way that engages, adds value, and then allows you to sell later on. And
Right.
so if you think about it, the whole idea, jab, 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 hook, is maybe week one, you write an email about the trends you see in the industry, but more specifically, what does that ultimately mean for them? Right? Make it what their ultimate, around their ultimate outcome. That's how you really engage people. What do they really want? So if you're talking about trends, tailor that back to what does that actually mean for you? Then week two, it's another jab, right? It's a value-based email that's giving real value, real practical advice. Week three, same thing, real practical advice. Week four, sell them something. By doing that, you're going to help create this engagement around your list, and you're not always trying to sell, but you're also providing a lot of value that makes people want to keep opening your emails.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions? Let's see.
There are a few more in the chat, Jared.
Okay, I'll move on to the chat here. Let's see here. All right, so I might have to start from, let's see. Okay, could this be applied for proposal? Yes, I think we covered that. Let's see. Oh, we covered that question from Daisha. I wouldn't have thought that automated texts are free. Okay, we covered that. How can I get smart traffic? This is a great question, Kimberly. We're going to actually talk about smart traffic on Thursday night. So if you want to join us Thursday, there's a lot of layers to this I want to cover, and it's going to be really impactful. There's going to be both free and paid areas that you can do, but the reasons that you want both is because it gives you real control. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can do this. Most businesses are going to dive into Google AdWords or pay agencies for SEO or Facebook ads. I'm going to show you a whole new way to think about traffic so that you can actually generate smart traffic. So thanks for asking that. Okay, we're part of a franchise system, so our ability to change the website is minimal. Our website traffic is decent, but it doesn't go anywhere. No call to action. Oh, that's challenging. I've worked with a lot of clients who are in franchises, and it is a challenge. The franchise, usually provides some marketing ideas or concepts, but most of the time I'm really unimpressed with the ways that they approach it. So you have to operate within their guidelines. At the same time, you have to take real control over how to market it. We'll dive into Google Business Profile when it comes up on Thursday. But one of the things that I've found, if this is within operating of the inside of operating in the terms of an agreement that you have with the franchise, is I would like to replace my website URL, my website on my Google profile with a landing page I call a GMB funnel that I can control. And sometimes franchises will let you do this, sometimes it won't, but if you can, this gives you actual control to create a real sales funnel and be in control. Sometimes you have to go through approvals to make sure it's on brand and all of that, but that's one way where you can actually direct traffic to a funnel that will convert better. And if you're doing any kind of paid ads, this should open up the gateway for you to be able to create a landing page for any of those paid strategies too, so that you can have that traffic go to a funnel and not to the website that the franchise provides. Jared, do you have a sweet spot for text and email frequency? Okay, we covered that. We have a barbecue drop-off catering business. I love that. Do you have thoughts on an irresistible promotional offer we could provide that wouldn't be financially draining to us? So with this one, okay, barbecue drop-off catering business. Oh, this is a little different. Let me think here. So normally what I found is that when one of the things we're going to talk about in smart traffic is near me traffic. When someone searches restaurants near me online, there is a very high buying intent there that they want to eat now, but that's not really what you're doing. It's a drop-off catering business. I think I'd need to dive into that a little bit more to understand. But here's the thing, though, is that you don't want to compete on price. And so when you say it would something that wouldn't be financially draining to us, what you want to do is really articulate the value you're bringing when you do a catering job versus others. And so how can you increase that value, in ways without costing you much more? Sometimes it's not by adding anything new. It's just by articulating what you already bring to the table that just isn't being perceived well, right? It's one of the things that we did. This isn't catering example, but it's what my client Bill, who was doing the excavations. He was meticulous at cleaning the site every single day after they left, before they left, so that the homeowner they were working with never had a mess. And he always did it, but he never said it. It was just part of what he always did. So we actually brought that into his offer and said, every single day your site will be cleaned before we leave. And that was a really great way to articulate value that it wasn't require anything more. It was just articulating what they already did. So I don't know if that helps. It'd probably be easier for me if I could dive in and get more clarity on that, but that's just an idea that hopefully that helps. Okay, not seeing an example. Sorry guys about that. Can you please give an example for a hook story offer for an embroidery business? I think we kind of talked a little bit about that one. And then what would the best video size settings have to be for adding to the website? That's a good question. On the techie side of things, what I would recommend is just uploading your video to something like Vimeo, and you can get a free Vimeo account, and then you can do an embed code that's responsive. What that means is if you place that into your website, if someone's viewing it on mobile, it automatically resizes for mobile. If someone's viewing it on desktop, it'll automatically resize it for desktop, but being responsive to the display that it's being used on. And that's a really easy way to do it so that you don't actually have to render it specifically for you could just, Vimeo actually just kind of does that for you too. And I would just recommend, you don't have to do super high quality. You could do 1080 by 1920 for, high def, or you could do 1080 by 720. And depending on the video quality, any phone will take a really good quality photo typically today. And so you could just use your phone to do a lot of that recording and create a really great photo with your phone. If you're going to do a lot of
site again?
Vimeo, it's Vimeo.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. One of the things, if you're going to do a lot of video with your phone and communicate to clients with your video, one of the best investments you can make is a very simple phone gimbal. And basically what that does is it stabilizes your phone and gives you a little handle to hold. It's like $100 for something like that, but it creates a much more enhanced video quality. And because most phones take great video, just doing that one little thing is well worth the investment. Good. Any other questions? Oh, Mary, I see a hand up. All right. How are you, Mary?
Thank you so much. I've learned so much and I totally look forward to Thursday.
Oh, fantastic.
My business, this is interesting because my business is teaching guitar, harmonica, ukulele, and songwriting. And my number one client that I'm trying to get right now is seniors and people who love them. So I'm building relationships through music.
Yeah.
And building the brain through education and music. And my challenge is many, but one of them is that there's a local music store that is looking, that has more than enough clients. They are looking for teachers, as a matter of fact, and I offer something totally different from them, but I'm not really sure how to get. And this might be what you're talking on Thursday is the smart traffic.
Smart traffic.
How to
Yeah.
get that traffic to my website. Right now, the website is called Mary Shapiro Music, and I'm going to change it to Sounds of Hope, so it's less me-centered,
Oh, cool.
more the emotion-centered.
Sure.
Any tips on that, or are you going to be talking more about that smart traffic on Thursday?
Oh, well, so this is really interesting. So one of the things that you want to think about with traffic is, most people think that I've got to generate traffic.
Right?
The thing though is that traffic already exists.
Okay.
We just have to find where our traffic is and then find ways to step into it.
Okay.
And I don't know your industry well enough or your ideal client well enough to know to like give you a tip of where that traffic would exist right now.
Okay.
So, the one thing when we go in on Thursday, we're going to be talking about, how to generate traffic with Google, because that's the best place people go to search, right? When
Right.
someone comes to Google, they search restaurants near me, for example, or roofers near me, and there's
Right.
a massive amount of search there. I'm not sure how many people are searching for, music lessons for seniors, for example. So that could be a little challenging. And what that means is maybe you have to create awareness, right? You've got people who are problem aware or customers who are problem aware, meaning they know they have a problem, they're seeking a solution.
Mhm.
And then you have customers who are not problem aware.
Mm.
And they have to be prompted that they actually have a problem and you have a solution for it.
Mm.
And so that might be a kind of where you might live with your marketing a little bit. And that means you've got to target it a little bit differently.
Mhm.
Not everyone loves to be all over social media, and I don't know how you feel about it.
Yeah.
My
Not my favorite.
my sister-in-law is a former musician. She was in Nashville for several years, touring with a lot of big artists, and now she's settled down and has a family, and so she teaches music lessons and she teaches ukulele
Mhm.
and guitar and violin to mostly kids.
Mhm.
But one of the best ways she's been able to get that out there is by where do people spend time?
Mm.
And today, a lot of people just spend time on social media.
True.
So that might be a really good platform for you to think about. And I often say, I don't like people spending money on Facebook ads or things like that, because I know of better ways for people when there's a direct search for problem aware customers with Google. But with yours, maybe the best way for you to do it is to build awareness that you have, right? Here's usually like, do you have a senior that you love that, I don't know what kind of problems that you solve, or so there's really two things here. Either one, you're moving away from pain, or you're taking someone from a good place and moving toward pleasure. So there's really kind of two paths there.
Yep.
But here's one of the most powerful social media strategies that you could do. Have you seen YouTube Shorts? You know what those
I
are?
have not. No.
Okay. You know what TikTok is?
Yes.
And you know what Facebook and Instagram Reels are?
Yes.
Okay. So all three of those things, it's called short form video.
Okay.
All three of those things are really, really powerful ways to build awareness around your product and service today. And by the way, are you only focused locally, or do you do this online too?
I do this online. Not as much. I would most definitely prefer to be face to face, and that's something that I can offer that your local store can't offer. Is I would come to you.
Sure. So there's two ways that you can do this. So for online business, you could actually build a ton of awareness by doing a series of YouTube shorts, Instagram, Facebook Reels, and TikTok, and have a strategy around that where you're publishing one or two of these videos every single day. It sounds like a lot, but I would batch it. I would just basically, I'm going kind of deep here, and I
No,
hope
I
this is okay.
appreciate it.
If you were to Google something related to what you do today, there's often some additional questions that Google will pop up. And when you open up one of those questions, it will produce more questions.
Yes.
And if you do that enough times, you can have literally 100 different questions that a lot of people are searching for that Google is prompting you to do. And you could take all those questions, put them in a spreadsheet, and have 100 pieces of content you can create around each question, because you know a lot of people are searching for those questions. Does it make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes, totally.
So now you have 100 content ideas that are really easy. And then you could just spend one day a month and just sit down and record a whole bunch of short little videos,
Yep.
explain for each one of those. And this gets a little bit like, you know, kind of a process, but you could actually have a VA overseas posting these every single day for you.
Mm.
So you don't have to think about it.
Good.
You just kind of build a process right now. It's a lot, but here's the other way. The other way is to leverage other people's audiences they've already created.
Mhm.
So one thing to think about is, what influencers can I find out there that have an audience of my ideal clients?
Yes.
And reach out to those influencers and find out, is there a way that you can join up on something?
Hmm.
And either share something, present something, or make an exclusive offer for just their audience. So you can do that with influencers online, but you can also think about it with businesses in your community. Are
Mhm.
there any businesses that have an audience that would make ideal clients for you, that you could come in and create a relationship with and instantly have business because you're leveraging their audience?
Beautiful.
So
Excellent.
different layers there, but I hope that helps.
A lot. And thank you so much for your time. And let someone else ask the next question. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
Jared, do you want to take one more question? Stephen
Yeah.
has his hand up.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll take your question, Stephen. How are you?
I am good. Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. So I just want to ask a real quick question, because I'm in a very similar business that you were in the past. We
Okay.
offer advertising for local companies that we're trying to get started, and in a unique place. And I was wondering, we work full time in our real jobs right now. So do you feel like social media would be the best way for us to get in touch with your roofing contractors, your lawyers, your local advertisers? Or what would you recommend would be the best way to get in touch with them while we're working full time to get up to a point where we can get it started, where we're doing that full time?
Oh, that's a good question. So do you offer services to businesses across the country, or is this more local?
We are starting off locally, and then we're looking to get into chain restaurants and that type of thing.
Okay. And can you give me a little bit better idea of specifically the kind of services you're providing?
It's a digital advertisement that's basically got used for the restaurant as a napkin holder, or it increases their space, or it's a condiment holder. And the digital advertisement is sitting right on the tables and across the bars and local restaurants. We have over 30 restaurants signed up already locally. And now we're just stuck on getting the advertiser portion of it.
Oh, okay. And so this is actually, what you're asking me is not about scaling the restaurants in the network. It's more about getting the advertisers.
The advertisers to be on the restaurant tables. Correct.
Okay.
Like, that's the best way that you would recommend, that you've found in the past, to get a hold of them, to let them know about this, because it's kind of similar to what you've done in the past.
Yeah. So a lot of businesses are online searching for, how can I better market my business today? It's happening all over the place. We'll go more into traffic, but I think you're going to find a lot of local traffic in your area, probably searching for similar things. And what you want to do is leverage your Google profile to the most that you can for organic ranking there. But local search ads is something that we're going to also talk about.
Okay.
And local search ads, and we'll talk more about what that is on Thursday, but local search ads are essentially like boosting your Google profile, and you can be more granular with what specific keywords you're pulling up for, what specific geographic areas you want to target in. And it's well worth a little bit of ad spend to put in behind some local search ads for your business that way too. Now, the key though, is you want to have a really good offer here. And one thing I've always said, if I were to do the same kind of business that we're talking about, we're very similar in what you did. If I were to do that again, the one thing I would do that would make my clients over the moon happy with our services and never want to cancel. Because the other challenge that we had was our HVAC guy who bought 10 screens at Johnny's Pizza called me up 6 months later and canceled because, well, thank you guys, but it didn't drive as many phone calls as I thought it would. And so what I would do is require that all of them have a really great offer strategy, and I would help coach them through exactly what I did with the offer and use that in the marketing that you're doing, but have a QR code go to a sales funnel for them.
Yep, and that's what I do have. Listening to you today, it's giving me a lot of ideas for helping them market their business as well.
Yeah.
But yes, the QR code I want on every ad so it's trackable. They can see the results, and it will take them to their website and hopefully into a funnel, like you said.
Yes. And if you have something like that, then they are going to see and feel the results so much better.
Okay, perfect.
So hopefully that helps, but Thursday is one you won't want to miss because of that.
I'll be there.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, Jared, thank you so much for the presentation tonight, and we're looking forward to Thursday evening's presentation. I want to remind everyone that you will be receiving an email with the link for the Zoom session on Thursday evening. You'll be getting that by latest tomorrow afternoon. And so it is a different link, and you'll have to use that link to access Thursday evening's presentation. So Jared, thank you so much for the presentation. Thank you for those. Thank you to those who are attending. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday night, and have a great evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us.